Hey friends, Lisa Marie Robinson here, your host of Cash and Sass. Over the next few weeks, I'm switching things up and sharing something special with you. I've had the privilege of being invited onto some incredible podcasts and shows to share my take on money, mindset, and building wealth with confidence. Why? Because people are hungry for these conversations, and I'm honored to be a guest expert they call on. So think of this as your all access pass. You'll get to hear me in the hot seat answering questions, dropping gems, and keeping it real. Consider this your proof that Cash and Sass message is spreading far and wide, and now you get to come along for the ride. You're listening to Cash and Sass. I'm Lisa Marie, your go-to gal for all things money. As the Sassy Wealth Queen and the brains behind the Sassy Wealth Coach, I'm here to take you on a thrilling ride from the financial chaos to sassy and sexy money.
And welcome back to another episode of Confident You Radio. Thank you so much for joining me, friends. If you're watching on Facebook or listening to us on the radio show for the Confident You Network, I want to go ahead and welcome our guest, Lisa Marie Robinson. She is best known as the Sassy Wealth Coach with over 20 years of experience in accounting, helping women manage their money with confidence. This is why we have her here. And they feel empowered. And after surviving a tumultuous childhood filled with addiction, theft, violence, her mission is to help women break free from poverty, struggle, and pain. She teaches her clients how to take control of their finances and make mindful decisions that fuel growth and prosperity. I can't wait to deep dive into this interview because money is one of these things that I continue to learn and I am working on getting better at because I was never taught this as a child. And money is that taboo subject we don't really talk about. So Lisa Marie, welcome to Confident You Radio and the Casa de Confidence podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm honored and so excited to be here.
I am, it's so many different questions that I want to kind of unpack, but a childhood that is filled with the things that you had to endure, violence, tumultuous relationships and things coming in and out, poverty, which by the way, all of these things cause trauma within us, whether we acknowledge it or not. How did you get to kind of move from that to what you're doing now? Because this is the other side of the spectrum. Tell me a little bit more about that.
To be honest, sometimes when I think about it, my first answer is I don't know. you know, um, I think a lot of times us as humans, we don't realize it, but we have a tenacity, right? And our inner selves know how to protect us. Yeah. And so that we can, get through whatever it is we need to get through. But if I'm also honest on that spectrum, it's because I have this determination that I love to prove people wrong. And, growing up in that environment, with a father who was a drug addict and in and out of life, not having money, right? Mm-hmm. Single mom. My mom was a single mom, not having money, her working in a plant, had 2 kids. You're told that if you come from money, you don't marry money, you're never going to, right? Yeah. And that's just something that if you hear it often enough, when we hear something often enough, we start believing it. Yeah. And, I was also told, this is the one that really stuck at me, is that, well, if your father's a drug addict and you have alcoholism in your family, which I do, mm-hmm. and you have drug addiction in your family, which I do, then you're going to end up the same way.
Wow.
And statistics also say the same thing, by the way. Mm-hmm. Remember, I don't know if anyone else is old as I am. Time magazine, we used to read those.
Yes, we used to read those.
Fried egg on the thing that says, if you have parents that do drugs, you have kids who do drugs. Literally, it's a statistic. And basically it was telling me, okay, I'm going to amount to nothing. And that determination of, okay, how do I prove someone wrong? And so I stayed as far away from anything that would put me around the alcohol, the drugs, whatever.
Right.
I decided I didn't like it. I've never tried it, but I decided I didn't like it. And
no, absolutely. I could see that. Absolutely. I can see that.
It had to, it had to go to this extreme, right? To basically So for many, many years, I lived in the story of no money. I lived in that
Oh,
story
yeah.
because it was told to me so often. I hadn't got to the point where I was, I guess, ready to realize it was a story, just like the drug addiction and ended up that way.
Yeah.
And until, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, but I also believe everything happens in some time for a reason. Until many years later, um, I had to go through several ups and downs. And people are like, okay, what makes you good at, why would I come to you or talk? Why are you good to talk about money? Simple. I've been through a foreclosure. I've been through a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. I've been through 2 short sales. Been there, done it. Rebuilt credit several times. I could probably write several books. I lived not being able to make ends meet, working, working 50 hours and still not knowing how I was going to get ends meet. Because let's face it, the corporate doesn't like taking care of their people majority of the time. There are
Mhm.
some few, uh, what would I say, few, not examples, but few in there that do. Um, but I kept falling down, right? Money was money was just seemed to always be out of the reach. And
Mhm.
then I was let go and I heard a voice saying I was needed at home and I was done. I was done working all the hours. There had to be another way.
Mm.
And that was in 2016. So
Wow.
when I say many years, I mean many years. I was 43. When that happened. So I believe I had to go through all the other things and live through those other things to realize that one, we can change our story.
Mm.
And I needed to realize that that's just what it was. It was just like what I was told when I was younger, right?
Right.
That you're
Right.
not going to amount to this, you're not going to amount to that. Now, were there other things that happened in between those years?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This was a daughter who gave a father more chances, probably more than he deserved, but still did it, right?
Right.
There's
Right.
still things that we do, but it was that determination to make it different that got me, um, I think that kept pushing me through. Um,
Mhm.
and, in 2016, when I was let go and I was like, okay, there has to be another way. I did one of the hardest things that could have been done. Um, and I made the decision of not going to look for another job in
Wow.
corporate.
That's a big step. And I have to tell you that many of us are so afraid of that. I have a similar story. We talked a little bit about this, but I remember the turning point for me when I decided that there was more, and that I did not want to live in this, poverty. I had a job. Worked I worked for my church at the time. And I was in charge of running the middle school youth group confirmation class, and I got paid twice a month. My paycheck was $438. I'll never forget that for, for the first 2 weeks of the month. My rent, and of course, we're going back. I don't even know where people find these kind of rents now, but my rent was $400.
You can't
And
find that anymore.
and I had to, for the first 2 weeks, um, I had $35 that I had to eat transportation with. And I remember I didn't have a car at the time. I could not afford a car. And I was teaching. By the way, I was also teaching. I was teaching at preschool and I still was not making enough. But I remember getting on the bus to go home after like a long day. I had gone grocery shopping and I'm carrying my bag and the bag ripped and all of my, well, mainly beans and rice rolled all over the bus. And as I'm running through trying to find my cans, and there was so much shame in that moment because that was my food for the next couple weeks. And I just thought, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to be like this. I need to rewrite the story. And, there's a lot of different things that happen, a lot of failures that happen also in between.
Mhm.
But the hardest times are the best times that give us the lessons or point us in the direction that we need to go. Was there a turning point other than your job changing? Was there something else that put you in the path to become the money coach now and to help others?
Yeah. For the job part, it was, I remember kind of like what you're talking about. I, I would, I remember driving and sitting outside the parking lot and I would cry
Mm,
because I didn't want to go inside.
yeah.
I didn't want to, and I used to love my job. That's bad, but I would cry. I didn't want to be there. The migraines, the tension headaches. I felt like I was going to have a nervous breakdown. And so when
Wow.
I made that decision, I decided at that point, if I was when they let me go, I decided if I was barely going to make it, then it was going to be on my terms. Now,
Mhm.
what was the pivotal point again? Because, like you said, there's things that happen in between. So the pivotal point between that and becoming a wealth coach was my business started. It was not as a wealth coach, just for saying. The business started and it grew. And part of it was preparing taxes. And okay, if anybody knows about people preparing taxes, you've got people who, they go and find someone different every year, right? So things get, and then people would, so right towards the end of 2017, all of a sudden people were moving on and things were like the income was starting. And I could literally see that it felt like it was going backwards. Like I was getting, at that time, I'd already found out why I heard the voice saying I was needed at home. And it was because my oldest did a call out for help and come find out she has major depressive disorder and she's autistic, but we didn't know that at the time. And if she'd have done the call out for help,
Wow.
um, and I'd been working corporate, I wouldn't have been home. I wouldn't have been there to see it.
Mm.
So yeah, it still makes my heart.
Wow. And
Um,
I mean, that's incredible because things happen for a reason. And many of us kind of ignore a lot of the signs that are out there for us.
mhm,
Um, you offer a lot of different things. I want to talk a little bit about the Pay Me First program that
mhm,
you have. I want to kind of unpack that for the listeners. But if you are tuning in from Facebook, um, this is an interview for our radio show. If you want to tune in for the rest of this, where we explore some of the resources, some of the Sassy Wealth Coach resources and feedback and partner ways that Lisa Marie Partners. I'm going to have you tune into the radio show to find out more. But tell me more a little bit about this program that you have because it really is intriguing to me.
well, that's actually kind of cool because it was created in 2017 when I had that pivot. I
Wow.
decided there had to be another way. This wasn't working. I don't want to go back to corporate money. Made money, so where was it at? Why all of a sudden was I finding myself still having no money? And
Mm,
a coach made a comment on Facebook, and it hit. And at the same time, I read Profit for or someone introduced me to Mike McAllow's Profit First.
I love that.
And so his book is amazing. There are a lot of things I think overwhelm women in
Hmm.
it. So I
Yep.
tell people all the time, please read it with a grain of salt. Don't go so far deep because I do think it can be overwhelming.
It can be very overwhelming. And I'm so glad you talk about that because I've asked people to read it and they're like, oh, I can't get through that.
No, I tell people all the time, look, don't read certain parts, but don't read other parts because it,
Yeah.
it can get very, very overwhelming. Um,
Mm,
but for me, the light bulb, what it reminded me of was the envelope system, buckets.
yeah. Yeah.
That's what I took from it was buckets. And I was like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And so I again, I took what I wanted from it, what I needed from it. Then when she said what she said of if you hate money, then you have a bad relationship with money. And why would you think money would treat you any better than it's treating you if you hate money?
Yeah. I
And
agree
I
with that
went,
100%.
So I dove deep into money mindset, into that money mindset. And, then another person said something about money stories. And that's when it all just clicked that there's money coaches who talk about money mindset. And then you have CFOs who talk about money management, but there wasn't somebody who was talking about both, how they go hand in hand, how you need to have a good relationship with money, have a good money mindset, and be able to do this. In order to have a good money management, you've got to be able to have a good money mindset. In order to have money come in, even if you're managing it, you have to have a good money mindset. And when that clicked, I was up in an airplane coming from a conference and I started writing, and Pay Me First was born. Several thousand feet in the air on the way from Miami back to South Carolina.
Wow.
So Pay Me First encompasses money mindset and money management. It encompasses, because one of the things is, okay, I'm like everybody else. Traditional budgeting sucks. It doesn't work. I'm a money coach, and I just said that on live radio. But it does. But there's a reason why. It doesn't take into consideration the one-off expenses. It doesn't take into consideration our yearly expenses. It lists it, right? It'll say your life insurance, or it'll say your business license, this yearly, but it does, and it has you put the amount, but how does that help you in the monthly part?
Yeah.
It doesn't actually tell you how to account for it, how to plan for those expenses. And so I created what I call the all-inclusive budget, or all-inclusive money management plan. It's on a financial dashboard, and it includes there's different tabs that takes all of those things into consideration. And the reason why it works is because we start where the person's at, based off of their lifestyle, who they are, their business, the goals they want, the needs they need to meet, right?
Yeah.
And then we build it from there. And we include their wants. So like if they want to be able to get their nails done, if we're able to see how it all fits and is feasible, then those things are budgeted in. If they're wanting to save for a trip, okay, when are you wanting to go? Let's figure out how we can do that. And then it's just all encompassed. And what's so cool about it is I use that in the Profit First methodology is what I say, where we have those buckets that help us.
Yeah.
So like there's a yearly expense bucket. And so you have your yearly expenses, all of them listed, divide by 12. That's how much you need to be putting up each month into that account, so that when that expense comes due,
you have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now I turn around and did the same methodology with my personal. So most people are like, oh, you need a personal emergency savings. All the big gurus, one big emergency savings.
Right.
No. What I say is have multiple savings accounts. I recommend Capital One 360 because free, as many as you want.
Yeah.
And so I have one that's called My Girls. That's for school supplies, shoes, you name it, whatever. And I'll be honest, I did not have all the ones I have now just starting out. Again, that can be overwhelming. I started off with 2 and it's gradually grown. And I wasn't able to put, $100 a month in them when I first started.
Right.
At first, it was for the girls, it was $25. But I didn't have to buy clothes every month either. But by the time school came around, there was enough money in there that I could go and get the clothes and I could get school supplies. And it didn't mess up the budget. It didn't mess up the cash flow,
right?
The expenses. And I don't know about any other parent, but every time school comes around, that's normally what happens with clothes and school supplies and all of that. Ever since I did that, I don't have that mess up. Right. I now have one that's called vehicle savings. These were my first 2 that I did. Because here in South Carolina, we pay property taxes on. So we pay property taxes on our vehicles.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Well, vehicle savings. I know how much I paid last year. I know it's not going to go up as long as I'm getting vehicles. So the amount that I've paid is what I saved, divide by 12.
Right.
I estimate what my oil change, is for the next year, divide by 12, and I'm putting money into that account. I cannot
Mm.
tell you how many times that has saved me. I had to get
Yeah.
2 tires. Money was there.
Money was there. Yeah.
I just now had my service done on my newer vehicle, so the service is covered. But we had to do my cabin filter, stuff like that, to take care of it. The money was there. I didn't have to freak and figure out where it was coming from,
Mm-hmm.
And so I tell people, no, you don't have to worry about your vehicle all the time. But imagine if you're putting $10 a month up into this account. That's all you can do. $10 a month, right?
Yeah.
And enough for the property tax on the vehicle if you have to pay property tax. So property tax to 10, right? Imagine a year and a half from then, you all of a sudden have to buy 2 tires or 4 tires or something.
Mm-hmm.
Goes, you're gonna even if you don't have all of it, you're gonna at least have half or majority of it to where it's not going to send your nervous system into an overdrive.
Yeah. I think that there's so many things, and thank you for mentioning the nervous system, because I think that when it comes to money, it does trigger a lot of different things. I think that one of the biggest things that I have to work for and work towards, and still, by the way, these are hard lessons that are hardwired in me. That's scarcity. I have to work to change my money mindset, and it's a daily thing. Um,
Can I share a secret?
yeah, share a secret with me.
It'll be 7 years I've had my business this October.
Hmm.
I rebranded into the Wealth Coach in 2020. But
Okay.
since I've been doing my business, I was slowly in 2017 worked on my money mindset, right? It's not something you'll ever stop working on.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that, because people think that you
Every
get to a point
time.
and you've got
Mhm.
it together. No, it doesn't. I,
Every time I go to up level,
yeah,
every time I go to make a bigger investment,
yeah.
or I increase my fee, or any type
Mhm.
of big up leveling, the scarcity, it's
Is
not as
there.
bad. It's not as bad. It
Mhm.
changes, but it's still something that can come up. Money mindset is
Yeah,
something you're always going to work on. It's just like your fitness and your health. It's not
absolutely.
something you're going to get to a certain point in your fitness and then go, okay, I don't ever have to do anything again. That's not how that
No.
works.
It's
It's
new
constant.
levels, new devils is what I like to say.
I
And
like that. I
for
like
me,
that.
yeah, I borrowed it from someone, so I think you
I'm
can
gonna
borrow it
borrow
too.
it. New levels, new devils. I like that.
Yeah. The tough part is that, when you grow up, and by the way, I had a very fortunate, loving home. My mom was an amazing mom. She did the best she could. But
Mine did.
we lived in an environment. First, we grew up with my grandparents where they were very well off, comfortable. We had a cook, we had a driver, we had a nanny, we had someone that cleaned, someone that just washed clothes. And then we went from that environment to my mom, and we lived our first place where my mom took us, and we were on our own with her in Miami. We lived in a 300 square foot apartment for my sisters, my mom. It was one big room, had a little kitchen, a little bathroom, and then we moved into a 2 bedroom apartment that was about 2 bedrooms, one bath, and it was probably about 700 square feet, not very big. Shared a room with my sister. But as a single mom, although she was educated and she didn't, she talks about how she didn't date because she was afraid of something happening to us if she brought a man into her life. Um, she, but she wasn't good with money. She always told herself the story that she
Mhm.
wasn't good with numbers. And
Mhm.
I think that that followed her. I think
Mhm.
that, the other thing is we, she always had to like make choices, right? Do I pay for the phone bill or the light bill, or do I get groceries?
Mhm.
And these are the tough
I've had
choices
the
that
same
many
things.
people have to make. So for me, when I have money in the bank, and by the way, I went from that $400 paycheck to a 6-figure salary. And even when I had a 6-figure salary,
You were scared you were going to lose it all.
I was scared. I'm like, okay, I have to pay this bill, but if I pay it, what if I don't have money for this? And that's my story many times. And again, like we talked about, it's a daily challenge to, hey, Julie, there is more than enough. And one of the things that I've been working with lately is that I don't need anything. I want things, because when I want things, there's more in the universe for me. There's more in the world, as opposed to feeling like, oh my God, I really need that. I need the money. Because no, I want the money. I want the money to travel. I want the money to pay off my house. I want the money to be generous and donate to the causes that I feel very compelled to be able to support. Right. So
May I give you and our
you
audience tip on that?
you may. I am here. Coach me.
Just the first thing that's popping up in my head.
Go for it.
First of all, my biggest thing, and I need to say this to the listeners and to you, please know you're not alone. I have clients that I work with, and majority of us, especially women, we always feel like we're alone.
Yeah.
Okay. Second, my mom's a single mom. She dropped out of high school because she got pregnant with me, had me at 17. She worked in a plant, ended up getting promoted material handler. So the amount of stuff she was doing to her body, okay, she provided. But again, she wasn't good with money because of the stories she told herself. But here's the kicker. A lot of times, society that we grow up in, we come from, our backgrounds, our ancestry, our environment that our family is in and we're in. That's where they were getting their stories. So they got those stories. Again, remember how I said, you hear a story often enough, you start to believe it. And because it's not taught on money mindset and money management, instead it's these stories, then we start telling ourselves these stories, and it's passed on generation to generation. And our society that does not help the situation, okay, at all. So that's, it's up to us in this generation, the women that's wanting to change that, to say, okay, excuse me, the story changes with me. Excuse me.
That's okay.
And we're going to turn the page and we're going to start a new one, right? And that takes a lot of tenacity. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to acknowledge, hey, I still have that scarcity money mindset. I told my clients that that's actually the first big, huge step. Now, here's the tip that I wanted to give. From now on, this is something I did to flip exactly what you're talking about. Okay, Julie, because what you just described, honest to God, the first year I think it was when I started the Pay Me First night, and I did exactly what I tell you I just taught my clients to do with Pay Me. I did it because I wanted to see it work, right? So I did it. All of a sudden, I had more money in my account than I'd ever seen in my life. Now, again, I was just starting, so I now have more than that. But I still had this fear that I was going to wake up tomorrow and it was going to be gone, or I wasn't going to be able to pay a bill. And so one of the things that I was doing and that's how Pay Me First even evolved over the last 5 years. It's become even more money mindset, money management, more involved with affirmations and flipping the scripts. When you, every single time you check your account and you've been paid, say thank you.
What a beautiful piece of advice.
Every time you go into your account and you pay your light bill, every time you pay your rent, every time you pay your mortgage, I send it, right? Because I do a lot of stuff electronic. Send it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a beautiful piece of advice. And by the way, I think that gratitude is one of the best ways that we can feel that abundance. I love that.
It changes how you view money and how you see your money. And and then in turn changes the relationship with your money and says, oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Amazing.
I'm gonna be honest. I know, like you're talking about choosing between a bill and this bill, so when I started saying that, people are like,
Mhm.
you don't do it now. Yes, I do. I
Yeah.
still do it all these years, and here's why. I know what it's like not to have it,
Indeed.
and so I say thank you every single time because I'm thanking the money for being there. I'm thanking the universe for the money to be there for me, not have to choose for me. And even if I have to choose, I'm still thinking that I was able to
Mhm.
pay one, right? The first
So
month
good.
that I didn't have to choose, I thank the universe that I didn't have to, that I was able to pay everything. The first month that I was able to pay everything and actually have money left over, again,
Mhm.
I thank the universe.
Amazing.
Just saying thank you. And it could be yourself, it could be your bank account. You don't have to like go and tell someone thank you, but just
Mhm.
actually saying it. And over time, you start to really, really mean it. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
And just be
Mhm.
genuine about it. Feel it inside of you, your nervous system. And that's one of the ways I calmed my nervous system down.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate you. And then it was like, you know what? There's going to be more money coming. I'm going to be able to do this. I just recently up leveled and I've had to seriously lean into the nervous system and remind myself and say
Mhm.
thank you even more. More money's going to
Mm.
come. I'm up leveling. Yes. So that means more money went out than came in, but that's okay. More money is going to be coming in because I have the abundance. And
Mm.
reason I say we have the abundance mindset is not to be quote unquote rich. There's a
Yeah.
reason why my business name says wealthy, the Sassy Wealth Coach. Because to me, when you're wealthy, you have the freedom,
Yeah.
you're living the lifestyle you want to live, and you have the abundance of money coming in so that you can do like you talked about, not just pay for the things, but also the things you want, where you want
Mm.
to give back, the ripple
Yeah.
effect you want to have. Because
That's
there's plenty of
amazing.
people who are rich who are miserable.
Absolutely. And I think that this is the piece that a lot of people miss. There's actually research that talks about how you can't, there's a threshold for happiness when it comes to money. People can make, I think it's about $80,000. That covers your expenses, it covers your needs, your housing. But anytime that people make over a certain amount, when you ask people, hey, what would how much money do you need to make to be happy? Then they say, I need, so if you have a millionaire, they have $1 million, they want 2 million. They have 2 million, they want 4 million. If they have 100,000, they want 200,000. But the person that and by the way, if you're in that threshold and you're like, oh my God, Julie, this is a crock of shit, because by the way, I think I need more or I want more, then we're really still living in that scarcity mentality. And that's the work that we have to do on an ongoing basis,
And part of that is the cost of living, right?
Absolutely.
Our society is part of the issue. It's
Mm.
having people who are living on less pay, and
Hmm.
then saying, okay, you're supposed to work these hours, but you're also supposed to be happy.
Yeah.
Part of that is they're making it hard. They're making it even harder. And then
Yeah.
when we're not taught how to not just manage money to pay the bills, but have a better relationship with money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Indeed.
think about how you have a relationship with your best friend, and
Hmm.
you're not going to sit there and tell her when she says, you know what, goofed up, I wasn't able to pay this. You're not going to sit
No,
there and berate her and tell her she's worthless and she's a piece of crap, and
absolutely.
you wouldn't do that.
You
So
wouldn't
why?
do that. That's exactly how we treat ourselves, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I tell people, it's like, okay, instead of doing that, talk to
Hmm.
yourself the way you would to your kid or to your best friend.
Yeah.
How would you want your kid to learn from their mistake on their money mistakes? How would you want your child to learn from their money mistakes? Just
So
like when
good.
just like when they first fell down off of a bicycle when they were learning how to ride a bike. How would you want them to learn from whatever mistake it was they made? And then talk to yourself the same way, because we didn't know what we didn't know. And there should be
Mm,
absolutely no judgment on the
yeah.
mistakes we make. Because look, I've made
Yeah.
plenty of money mistakes.
Yeah. How do
And how
you,
I've learned from that is the changes.
yeah. How do you encourage individuals? So for instance, you're a money coach. People are coming to you because they need the support, they need the lessons, they need the partner, they need the cheerleader. You're doing so many different things for them. But how do people work with you? Because I'd love for you to unpack that, because I think that for people that, well, I have bills to pay. How am I going to do this, right? Give us a little bit of how can people partner with you, Lisa Marie?
Well, there's several different ways actually, and I'm so happy I can say that now. It used to be, there wasn't. Um, Pay Me First is my one-on-one service. Okay,
Mhm.
that's
Yep.
my high end. That's the high touch. You get a CFO money coach in one. You get access to me via cell phone. That's a really high
Mhm.
touch service.
Yeah.
I also have my group program, which we are about to launch.
Yay.
Um, it's the Sassy Money Mastermind. It's 6 weeks where we do money mindset. We dive into the stories,
Mhm.
reframing the money script, and then 6 weeks of money management. Um, it's it's I don't know. I love it because it's a way for women to be safe in an environment, and there's no judgment, and you're able to get hot seat coaching. You're able to upgrade and get 2 to 3 one-on-one spots with me during that time. Um,
Great.
then I also have two new services. They're smaller services. One's called the Money Mindset Accelerator. If you go to my website, these two are so new, there's no sales page. So
Okay.
just tell me you heard it. But as of we're recording this, there's no sales page yet. Uh,
Okay.
but the Money Mindset Accelerator is just what it says.
Mhm.
For 3 months, we're going to dive deep. And it's a 30-minute call each month where we work together on
Mhm.
what comes up front about your money mindset. And then the rest is Voxer coaching,
Okay.
where we work on flipping the script. You have homework each week. We work
Mm.
on that money mindset. The other one that I just created, I actually don't have a name for it yet.
Okay.
Um, but it's also a 3 month service, and it's basically you're like, you know what? I just want someone to help me put the budget together, the all inclusive money management plan together. I don't
Mhm.
need the hand holding. I just want someone to help me, answer my questions, help me dive in and put it together, and then I'm going to go my way.
That's great. That's
And
great. I mean,
that's
mm,
what it is. It's one. Uh, it's
yeah.
mainly, again, the Voxer coaching. It's one call
Mhm.
each month. So there's 3 calls. And then you have homework you have to send to me. I help you build it. I answer your questions, and
Mhm.
you go on your way.
That's great. I am just enamored by this whole idea that there is someone helping us become confident when it comes to money. I think that that's something that we all need.
It's my
Um,
passion.
we need to have the real talks. We need to have
Yep.
someone that has been there and gets it, because and I love that, there is no shame in this journey. And again, I know that this is the lessons that I'm still working on and learning. um, where do you see yourself in the future? What is your vision for the Sassy Wealth Coach?
That's kind of funny. You asked that. I envision myself. My goal, my mission, is to be able to empower as many women as possible,
Mhm.
to where they're empowered by money instead of fearing it, aka not full of chaos, but instead have sassy and sexy money.
Mm.
And how I'm able to do that is having a ripple effect. So I see the Sassy Wealth Coach being on stages. I see different ways working with women, speaking with women, whether it's podcasts, me having my own
Yeah.
podcast, which is in the works. Um,
Yay.
I know, I'm excited. Speaking on stages. My big, huge vision is being able to ripple effect it, right?
Mhm.
So if we're able to change how you look at money and you say thank you, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to teach
Yeah.
your children, right? And then they're going to teach their children. I have a client who came to me and told me, she's a therapist, and she came to me and told me, she says, Lisa, she said, I was in your group program, and one of the things that you said to me that stuck with me, she said, my client come to me and in this thing, and she says, and I actually used what you taught me and told her the same thing. And I was like,
Mhm.
Yes. And
That's
she's like,
how it works.
what do you mean? Yes. I said, that's a ripple effect. That is what I want.
Love it.
Because again, more ripple effect, then we can change the world. Right. And, as women, we're strong. But imagine how much stronger and how much more impact together we can do. And so that ripple is where I see it.
Amazing. I love that you talk about the ripple effect. I'm big on rippling out the goodness to the world. I believe that if we're creating a gift for one person, then that person will pass it on. So incredibly aligned with your message. You are a gift. I have to tell you that I love what you're doing. You are the person that I wish my mom had access to, so that I myself could have been part of that ripple. But because I have access to you, I know that I can.
You could be the ripple now, though.
I could be the ripple now. Absolutely.
Because that's what I tell myself, is I'm going to be the ripple now.
So good. So good. Thank you for being here. Will you come back
for
again?
having me. Yes, absolutely.
I would love to have you back. You could be.
I would love to.
Yeah, I have so many different ideas going through my mind that I'm excited about this. So if you want to connect with Lisa Marie, you want to go ahead and go to her website. That is the sassywealthcoach.com. And she has tons of resources and information on her programs, but also her story, her journey. And I believe that if you are looking to create confidence when it comes to your money, this is the person you want to go ahead and connect. I love Profit First. It definitely has changed the way I run my business and how I teach that to my clients. So I am a fan of her work. So thank you for being here, Lisa Marie. And don't forget, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to Cash and Sass. Don't forget to grab your free Wealth Wins checklist at transcendentwealthco.com. And while you're there, check out how we're helping entrepreneurs like you build unapologetic, bankable wealth. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a drop of this money magic, and leave a review to help us spread the wealth revolution. Remember, your money can be bold, sassy, and sexy. Until next time, keep cashing in with confidence.